The year is 1944. Deep in the fog-shrouded forests of occupied France, a lone figure moves through the shadows. She's an American military nurse, her uniform torn and stained with mud, her face a mask of exhaustion and fear. Moments ago, she was part of a medical convoy. Now, she's the sole survivor of a brutal ambush, a ghost in a land held captive by the enemy. Suddenly, the sharp bark of a dog echoes through the trees, followed by guttural shouts in German. The beam of a flashlight cuts through the darkness, pinning her against a tree. Hands grab her, rough and unforgiving. Her capture is swift, brutal, and silent. She is now a prisoner of the dreaded SS. Her name is lost to the chaos of war, her identity reduced to a number. She's thrown into the back of a truck, the world outside becoming a blur of dark trees and fleeting moonlight. The journey ends at a place that seems to have been pulled from a nightmare, a sprawling, grim complex surrounded by barbed wire and watchtowers. This is her new reality, a prisoner of war camp run by the very men she was trained to fight against. The iron gates clang shut behind her, a sound that seals her fate, severing her connection to the world she once knew. She is alone, a solitary flame of defiance flickering in a storm of hatred. The first day is a trial by ice. She's stripped of her belongings, her uniform replaced with a coarse, thin prisoner's garment. She stands shivering in a long line, enduring the cold, clinical inspection of the guards. Their eyes are devoid of humanity, scanning her not as a person, but as an object, a problem to be managed. The air is thick with a silence that is more terrifying than any scream. Every prisoner is an island of private fear, the unspoken tension a heavy blanket over the camp. She keeps her head held high, her training as a nurse instilling a discipline that refuses to break. She will not give them the satisfaction of her tears. Then comes the interrogation. She is led into a small, bare room. The only furniture, a simple table and 2 chairs. Across from her sits an SS officer, his uniform immaculate, his face a cold, unreadable slate. He asks questions in clipped, precise English. Where is her unit? What were their plans? Who are the local resistance contacts? She stares back, her lips sealed. Her name, rank, and serial number, that is all they will get. He leans forward, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. Speaking of things that will happen to those who don't cooperate, she meets his gaze, her silence. A shield. The battle of wills is silent but ferocious. Her defiance is her only weapon. After the interrogation, she is taken to the camp's infirmary. She expects filth and despair, but what she finds is a strange, almost surreal sense of order. The small medical unit is surprisingly clean, run by a stern-faced German doctor and a handful of prisoner nurses. It's a pocket of false calm in the heart of the storm. Here, the lines between friend and foe blur. A wounded soldier is just a person in pain, regardless of the uniform they wear. The German doctor, a man hardened by war, sees her nurse's insignia and puts her to work. There are no introductions, no pleasantries. There are only wounds to be cleaned, bandages to be changed, and lives hanging by a thread. In the medical unit, she finds a new purpose. Her hands, which had been clenched in fear, are now busy with the familiar tasks of healing. She tends to the sick and wounded, both Allied prisoners and even some of the German guards. In this strange place, her skills are valued, a universal language understood by all. She works with a silent efficiency that earns her a grudging respect from the German doctor. He watches her, his expression unreadable. Does he see a fellow medical professional, or just a prisoner biding her time, she doesn't care. Each life she helps, each bit of comfort she can provide, is a small act of rebellion, a victory against the dehumanizing machinery of the camp. Days bleed into weeks. The initial shock gives way to a grim routine. Wake up, work in the infirmary, eat the meager rations, sleep. The camp is a world of its own, with its own unspoken rules and hierarchies. She learns to read the moods of the guards, to know when to be invisible, and when a small glance can be a lifeline. She sees the quiet despair in the eyes of her fellow prisoners, but also sees sparks of incredible resilience, a shared crust of bread, a whispered word of encouragement, a knowing look. These are the currencies of hope in a place designed to extinguish it. She is no longer just an individual. She is part of a silent, suffering community, but the hope for freedom never dies. It's a constant, burning ember in her heart. She begins to notice things. The patterns of the guard patrols, the blind spots in the watchtower's view, a loose section of fence near the back of the camp, partially obscured by overgrown bushes. An escape plan begins to form in her mind, a desperate, dangerous gamble. She confides in no one. The risk of betrayal is too high. This is a path she must walk alone. She starts to subtly gather what she can: extra piece of bread saved from her meal, a small, dull knife she manages to pocket from the infirmary, a darker piece of cloth to blend in with the night. One night, the conditions are perfect. A thick, disorienting fog rolls in from the surrounding forest, blanketing the camp in a shroud of gray. The air is cold and damp, muffling every sound. This is her chance. Her heart pounds against her ribs like a drum, a frantic rhythm of fear and hope. After the final head count, when the camp settles into an uneasy quiet, she slips out of her barracks. She moves like a wraith, her body pressed low to the ground, using the fog as her cloak. Every snapping twig, every distant cough from a guard, sends a jolt of pure adrenaline through her veins. The world narrows to her immediate surroundings, the feel of the cold, wet earth beneath her fingertips. She reaches the fence, her hands, shaking but steady, work on the wires with the small knife. The metal groans softly, a sound that seems deafeningly loud in the silence. Minutes stretch into an eternity. Finally, a section gives way, creating a small opening. She squeezes through, the barbs tearing at her thin clothing, scratching her skin. She is outside. A wave of both terror and exhilaration washes over her, but she is not free yet. The forest lies ahead, a dark, menacing unknown. She takes a deep breath of the cold night air and plunges into the trees, the fog swallowing her whole, the sounds of the camp fading behind her. She is silent, she is alone, but her every move is a testament to the unyielding power of the human spirit. Thanks for watching.